All systems go. Clear for liftoff.
What is going on, SHIPIT Nation YouTube station? Back with another NHL breakdown here for this nice 9-game slate on FanDuel and DraftKings here. All the sports going on. We got NBA, we got NFL, we got NHL. We got it all rolling tonight for this Thursday evening. Tons of contests, tons of sports to play here on the sites. If you are not a member yet at ShipItNation.com, use that promo code NBA 15 gets you locked in for 15% off any membership plan. Why does that matter? Well, NBA, like I said, just come back, and multiple places across the industry are charging anywhere from $70 to $90 a month just for NBA content alone. You pop in that NBA 15 promo code there, you get full access to our site, including an optimizer for $85 a month. Pretty hard to ignore that pricing there, because you do get everything. All-encompassing, $85 a month for all access, including an optimizer, our in-house Shiptimizer, designed to help you ship there. So check us out, get in there. But like I said, without further ado, let's jump into this NHL slate here. 9 games on tap. Obviously, we came off the frenzy on Tuesday where every team in the NHL played. Back to 1 game last night, and now back to 9 games today. Pretty crazy scheduling here in the beginning half of the season for NHL, but hey, that's the game we play. That's what we're up against here. So I'm going to start the show looking at the matchup sheet here. Obviously, this is a premium piece of content over at the Nation. I'll showcase it here for the slate. We have this available for every single slate here. Basically, what it does is it shows you the team matchups, the team metrics over the course of the season. Once we get a big enough sample, we're going to put this to home and road splits as well. But right now, obviously, we're 7 to 10 games through the season so far. So you got the games played over here, like I said. But really, all the meat and potatoes is over here on the right-hand side. Basically, what you want to do is you want to go diagonally, the Wild and the Lightning, and read it, match green with green, basically. It just shows you good target spots. Obviously, those target spots aren't guaranteed to produce, right? But it gives you a better lens of the slate, of kind of a broad slate overview of where you look at, and then you can jump over to the stone and really pick your players and build teams like that. So obviously you see the Rangers, pretty solid spot here overall. The hockey club, again, right here, mainly the power play matchup, right? You see, I like some things like that. You see the Kings, right? Kings in a great spot. Late night hammer here against the Sharks. Pretty common stuff here overall on the matchup sheet. But one of the greatest tools that I've used over the tenure of playing NHL DFS here. So brought it over to SHIPIT Nation, and it's been a great tool for our members over here. But let's jump over and jump into the stone and talk through breaking down these games here. First game up on the slate here we're gonna talk about is the Dallas Stars, Boston Bruins. 5.5 total in this one. Not a great game for DFS purposes. I don't love this game. I think both these teams are good defensively. The Stars look like one of the best teams in the league this year. I will say my interest in this game resides from the goalies. Casey DeSmith at 7,400, I think, is very interesting. Pretty solid goalie overall. Don't like it much that he's on the road, but again, I think he, with the salary savings built in and the shots upside for some saves, Boston shoots the puck a little bit more than Dallas does. I think he has upside, and the price is nice at 7,400. But on the other side, Jeremy Swayman at home, 7,800, very solid spend up goalie in my opinion here. I like him quite a bit. Outside of that, really not getting to anyone from an offensive standpoint in this game. I think this game kind of drags a little bit. 9 games, can't play them all. This is a game from offensive standpoint that I'm not going to really get to. Could you grab some guys as value plays? Absolutely, but not a spot I'm looking to target here. Let's jump to the next game here. We have St. Louis heading to Toronto. Binnington in the net, I will say, from a GPP standpoint, and at 7K flats, you get a little bit of leverage as well. Toronto, one of the heaviest favorites on the slate at minus 240. Binnington, still a solid goalie overall. If you want to punt in GPPs, I think Binnington is going to have saves volume. He could still give up 3 goals and still be optimal if he gets you that 35 save bonus at his price point. But overall, I think this is a pretty good spot here for Toronto. I expect them to get a decent amount of ownership here. My favorite line is probably going to be, again, going back to the Max Domi, William Nylander, Bobby McMahon line, just because of the salary savings here. Austin Matthews, 9,600. He's expensive. If I'm spending up, I actually prefer some other guys in that kind of price range. I like Jack Hughes quite a bit here tonight. And then I also put Nathan McKinnon over Austin Matthews here tonight, but you can't go wrong with any of any of those spend ups. Austin Matthews coming off 71 goals last year. Obviously, you can see he's going to play over 20 minutes. He's averaging over 5 shots and goal per game this year. He is going to get ownership, but again, I prefer some other spend up. So for me, overall, I'm kind of under on this Toronto team. I will say Matthew Knees here at 4K, still a great value, getting power play time, skating next to Matthews. Anytime you're skating next to Austin Matthews, you have upside there for assists, secondary assists, and just open layups, basically, when he passes you the puck to score there. So don't hate that. On the Blues side, Jordan Kyrou would probably be the only guy I'd have interest in as a one-off. You could pair him with Buchnevich, but again, really not going to stack up the Blues here against Toronto. But in tournaments, I think the Blues are going to be significantly overlooked, and Toronto hasn't been crazy in terms of nets. I mean, their expected goal numbers are north of 3, and they're allowing quite a bit of shots there. So decent spot in tournaments, but mainly just a one-off for me in Jordan Kyrou and maybe a mini stack with Buchnevich, because they do pivot, or they do correlate together full strength and on the power play as well. Going to both play over 19 minutes as well on average here. So jump to the next game here. It's the Devils. It's the Red Wings. This is a spot that I do like quite a bit here. I don't think tons of ownership are going to go to these Devils here for the most part. I mean, we have them decently high owned, but I think this is a spot where I want to target the power play here. Power play line 1. So Jack Hughes, Nico Hischier, Jesper Bratt, Nosen, and Dougie Hamilton here. Keep an eye on if Nosen is up on that top power play. If he is at 3,600, that's a great value play there. We could see Timo Meier go back up to that top power play. But nonetheless, I like this spot quite a bit. Detroit's penalty kill is sitting at 64%. They're allowing over 3.5 chances per game as well. Their expected goal numbers are way north of 3.5. So I think this is a spot here where the Devils can kind of come in and go up and down the ice here and score quite a few goals against Talbot and company here for the Red Wings. So I like these Devils quite a bit. I'm targeting the top power play in general. I think an interesting way to play these guys too is pairing Jack and Nico Hischier together because they do correlate on the power play. Then you also get the cross ice correlation, right, when they're both out there centering their different lines. Jesper Bratt, 6,100, like his price point quite a bit. Dawson Mercer is a nice value play if you are stacking that Nico Hischier line with Nico, Timo Meier, and Dawson Mercer. Dawson Mercer at 3-4. He's going to play 17 to 18 minutes there. He's been fairly active, and last year he was really good for these guys. So I like the Devils quite a bit. They're probably my third favorite stack on the slate here. It's a pretty good spot. On the other side, not a ton of interest on the Red Wings. JT Compher still remains a solid value play at 3,500 with the ice time he's getting and getting power play time. I don't hate that. But outside of that, not going to get to really anyone. Eric Gustav at 3,400, still centering that top or running point, on that top power play. I don't think he's the craziest play, but it's Devils for me in this spot or pass. Jump to the next game here. It's the Wild. It's the Lightning. 6 total in this one. Vasilevsky is going to be in net. Marc-Andre Fleury is going to be in net. I think Fleury makes an interesting play in tournaments at 7,200. I think he's a good goalie overall. He's been pretty bad to start the year, but I think that kind of reverts back, and he's got some positive regression coming in his way. I just think he's a better goalie than what we've seen so far. Not the greatest matchup here. Tampa's been the third best team in the league in terms of scoring over their first 6 games this year here. But you look at Minnesota, and Minnesota is very good They're a very good defensive hockey team. I think they can slow the Lightning down here, and I think this game kind of drags. If I were to go to anyone on the Tampa side, it would be the top power play with Point, Kucherov, Gunsel, Hago, and Victor Hedman. I will say Victor Hedman, probably my favorite spend-up D-man at 6,500. His floor-ceiling combination right now is unmatched. He's absolutely been on fire. And then on the other side, the Wild, Brock Faber's fine, but my favorite D-man for the Wild is going to be Middleton. I think Middleton's in the elite play. I believe he's 3,700. He's been on a tear. His floor is insane right now. And I just think he's a great option. So for me, it's kind of the demons in this game. Maybe some power play guys from the Lightning, but a game that I'm not really interested in too much from a DFS standpoint. I think it's plays a little bit slower here. I think the Wild are a pretty solid hockey team overall defensively, and I think they can kind of hold Tampa in check here. Jumping to the next game here, the Rangers look like an absolute wagon this season. Now they're coming in, and they get the returning Stanley Cup champs, right? Florida, dealing with some injuries coming into town. I think the Rangers are going to kind of lay it on them here. I like this spot quite a bit for the Rangers here. The Panthers have kind of slipped a little defensively with the loss of Barkov, right? And the injuries that they're dealing with there. Barkov, very good defensive center overall. The Rangers, best scoring hockey team so far over the first 6 games in the NHL for them. Going right back to the well. However, I do think the Mika line is where I want to target here tonight. The Trocheck line with Panarin and Lafreniere going to be higher owned. I think Mika's getting right. He's put 2 good games together in a row. He's still cheap at 6,100. I like Mika. I like Chris Kreider, and I like Riley Smith. Cheap line stack there. All of them correlate on the power play as well. And then you got Keandre Miller at 3,600 as a D-man that you can throw in there in that stack as well. So I like the Rangers' second line here quite a bit in this spot against the Panthers. They should see some decent matchups from the Panthers side of the things, right? They're on home ice, so they get to dictate the matchups there. On the Florida side, not really going to any of these Florida guys. I mean, Igor's a good enough goalie here. The Rangers are due for some goal regression against them here. Sammy Bennett, Carter Verhaeghe, Matthew Tkachuk would be probably the line I'd go to. They fully correlate together, and they're going to be unowned. And they're overall good hockey players. So if you wanted to go to them, you could at virtually no ownership, and they fully correlate. But again, it's Rangers for me or pass for the most part. Igor Shesterkin, a good spend-up goalie. I think he's going to see volume. And at 8.2K, he's probably my favorite goalie and about as high as I'll go in terms of goalies here tonight. Next game on the slate here, we got the Hurricanes. We got the Flames here. And the Hurricanes are massive road favorites here, which is kind of interesting to me. I don't see it this way. I know it's going to be a contrarian take here, but I think the Flames win this game. I think the Flames are the better play for DFS. Now, I will say, Sebastian Aho, Svechnikov, and Seth Jarvis fully correlate. They're still super cheap, and they're still fine options there. And you can pair them with Ghost Messier at 4,500, and you got a full line stack with Power Play 1, and it's pretty cheap overall in terms of the stack. However, Calgary, I think, is playing pretty solid. I like them. They're scoring quite a bit. They're the 7th best offensive team in the NHL. Their expected goals number is about 2.6. So I think they've had some tough puck luck as of late. Now, I don't think Dan Vladar is a great goalie by any means, but at 7,500, he's also going to be going up against the mega chalk here, right? You see Aho at 23%. You see Martin Necas at 26, 27%. You see Svechnikov at 25. I mean, Carolina's going to be mega chalk here, and I think Calgary wins this game. So I'm going to be on the Calgary side here. I like Kadri a ton. I like Kuzmenko a ton. Connor Zary is a nice value play if you want there. Huberdeau on that top power play as well. And then you got some of the best depth guys, right, with Mikhail Backlund, Blake Coleman, and Connor Zary. That second line and that top line are kind of where I'm going here for the Flames. I like the Flames in this spot. I think Freddie Anderson, Swiss cheese. I know he's been playing decent as of late. He's put together 2 good starts in a row. I just don't think he's the same. I've targeted him a ton, and nobody's going to play these Flames, and I'll gladly play Calgary here tonight. I think this is a great leverage spot here in tournament. So this is probably my flag plant stand of the night. I'm fading Carolina, and I'm going to play these Calgary Flames here tonight. Couple games left to talk about here. We got some good games overall. This next game right here is Utah. Disappointing on Tuesday here, but now they get the Avs here, who really don't play a ton of defense at all. I mean, they've allowed over 4 goals per game so far this season through 7 games. Georgiev is going to be a net overall. I have no interest in him. He's allowing 5 goals per game right now. I think this is a bounce back spot for Utah. I love Utah's top power play here. Barrett Hayton, Clayton Keller, Gunther, Nick Schmaltz, Sergachev. I think this top power play is very good. They're averaging about 31% cash-in rate, and Colorado's power play or penalty kill has been absolutely atrocious. Second worst in the league at 64%. I like Utah's top power play a ton here. I don't see any ownership going to them as well. I do see ownership going to Colorado. So kind of like similar spot, right? Colorado, pretty heavy road favorite. Same thing with Carolina. I like the 2 home teams here with Utah and Calgary. So it's kind of another flag plan I'm standing on here. On the Avs side, I do say I like the Avs more than Carolina for sure at similar ownership, but they are expensive. I think Casey Middlestat makes some interesting sense. So if you wanted to get a little bit unique, leaving McKinnon off and going Middlestat, Rantanen, Ross Colton brings that salary down a little bit in terms of the stack. You still get power play 1 correlation, and you save a little bit of ownership because McKinnon's going to be 25-ish% owned. I expect Middlestat at his price point to be sub 5%. So you still are correlating. You still cut into that ownership, and it still makes some sense. But for me, it's Utah power play 1. I really like them a ton in this spot here against Colorado. Colorado's still fine. Like I said, I have interest in Colorado more than I would a Carolina here tonight. The only issue is they are expensive. McKinnon's almost up to 10K. So I like Middlestat a decent amount. I think he's probably my favorite play from the outside. Cale Makar, if you wanted to spend 8,500 at a deep position, he's always got an incredible floor, incredible ceiling. Just not something that I want to do typically on my roster construction, but you could play him in the utility as a one-off if you wanted to there. Jump to the next game here, the Jets and the Kraken. This is a cross-off game for me. 5.5 total, both good defenses overall. From a DFS perspective, I mean, you got some value plays here. Chandler Stevenson at 3,100, still a solid value play. He's playing over 20 minutes, getting that top power play work. He's fine. I'll still consider to keep playing Riker Evans at 2.8K, getting power play work. He scored on Tuesday. He's still basically still in minimum. I don't hate him. Adam Larson, Brandon Montour, both great plays too from the deep perspective. Jamie Olisiak, he's solid. On the Jets side, really not a ton of interest in really anyone. Like I said, this is pretty much a cross-off game for me in terms of DFS. I will say Nikola Ehlers at 5,200, still got a decent price point, but outside of that, it's just some value guys in here for me. Connor Hellebuyck in net, I think is a great goalie at 7,800. I put him right next to Swayman. Him and Swayman, both great plays at 7,800. That's pretty much as high as I really want to spend here tonight. I guess Shesterkin at 8,200, I think makes some sense. But again, 7,800, you got Swayman. 7,800, you got Connor Hellebuyck. 2 great goalies here in good spots in low totals there. So really like those 2 spots as well. Last game on the slate is a good one. Mega chalk here. The Kings, expect heavy ownership going to them, but right now ownership projections don't look like that because people are going to Carolina, who's underpriced for their talent, but I just don't love the spot a ton. And Colorado, other teams are going to pick up some ownership here. The Kings, if this ownership stays true, the Kings are my top stack on the board. Ans Kopitar, love him. Kemp, Fiala, Byfield, Trevor Moore, Dano. I like the lines 1 and 2 here. The Sharks continue to target them all season long. They allow the most penalties against per game as well. So I'm really looking at the Kings power play, which would be Kopitar, Adrian Kemp, Kevin Fiala, Alexis Lafreniere, and Brant Clark. Brant Clark at 4,400, probably my favorite demon play on the slate at his price point. I mean, San Jose Sharks bleed points to every position, especially D-men here. They give up a ton of high danger chances. They just give up the most shots on average per game. Their expected goals against is significantly higher than what the actual numbers show right now. So I love the Kings as a late night hammer, my favorite stack on the board. And from what I'm seeing right now, ownership's really not going to them too much outside of Brant Clark, who is significantly underpriced for his role right now. On the flip side, the Sharks, Kel Granlund, you can play him. Alex Wenberg is a nice value play at 3K flat, getting top power play time. William Eklund, Fabian Zetterland. But again, Kings are a good defensive team overall. That I'm not really going to get to any of these Sharks. It's Kings or bust for me in this spot, but I do like the Kings quite a bit in this spot. Again, went through every game here, talked on where I'm looking. My final content, slate plan, core plays, everything is live over on SHIPITNation.com. Again, if you want access to that, you want access to the Stone where you can download it into an Excel, play around with it, put it into a PDF, or if you want access to the matchup sheet like I showcased off the top, happy to do that, but you do need to sign up at SHIPITNation.com. If you want to use that promo code NBA15, gets you locked in for 15% off any membership plan. We have weekly, we have monthly, we have annual, and 6-month packages available. But NBA 15, if you get locked in now, all sports, including an optimizer, it's $85 a month, includes every sport right now. Cheapest all-in rate in the industry, especially with NBA back. And NBA is a grind. NBA is a great season. We have all the content tools, the Discord, everything available to have success in there. And it's cheaper right now with the promo code than some places are charging just for NBA only, and you get all the sports. So that's going to do it for this NHL show here. Appreciate everyone tuning in. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Helps us out a ton. But for myself, Nadesify, let's ship it.